Hi, I'm Rolof, and I'm back in the studio. This is where I'll be making most of the videos for this channel. I'm set up here with a CARVERA machine, 3D printer, and some general tools I'll use in conjunction with the machine to show you what it's capable of. Now, a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to visit the factory where this machine is made, and it was quite an amazing experience to see the passion and the drive that the team has for making this machine. They are a team of software, electrical, robotics, and system engineers that has a passion for creating machines like this. And for a startup company, they're quite developed and is expanding by the day. And I think the CARVERA is only a start of an era at Makera. Now, this is a follow-up video of the video I made back in the factory, the unboxing video. If you haven't watched that, I do recommend watching that first before going into this. This video will focus on the software, how to download it, how to set it up, and how to operate it. Let's go. First of all, we need to visit the website, makera.com. And let's run through this while we're here. This is where you can pre-order your machine. At the moment, you have 20% off retail deal. And then you have some more information, the CARVERA controller links to that, some more information and some more reviews. In the top tabs, we have the store, then we have the software tabs, then we have a support tabs for frequently asked questions and manuals, and then the community for our social media accounts. So we'll click on the software tab. Then over here, you can download the controller software. This is the main software you'll use. I will be downloading the Windows software. You also have Mac and Android available. Then you have your USB driver that you need to install if you're running the machine via USB, and your CARVERA firmware. This is to update your firmware. Here we have the CARVERA cam. This will be available soon once that is done in development. And then this is the recommendation softwares we have and the profiles available for download. We also have a PCB cam solution that converts your Gerber file into a cuttable file. So we'll just click on the links to download the controller, download the USB, and also download the firmware if you need to update. And that automatically downloads. Now that all the files are downloaded, we will go to the Explorer, to the download folder, and install the controller software first. You can just follow the prompts. It's quite a quick install and the software opens up automatically. Now there are three ways of connecting to the machine, either through USB, direct Wi-Fi, or network Wi-Fi. We recommend the network Wi-Fi so you can control the machine without your computer being restricted. First of all, make sure your machine is turned on. To set up the machine via USB, you may have to update the driver. To do that, go to Device Manager, find the machine and the port it is connected to. This should be under Other Devices or USB serial port. To make sure you have the correct port, just right-click Properties and the description should be FTDI. If you have the correct port, right-click to Update Driver, locate the downloaded driver, and install. Now you can connect through USB. To set up the Wi-Fi, first you need to open the Wi-Fi settings on your computer and find the machine and connect. Next, you go back to the controller software and connect to the machine. Now you are connected to the machine directly. I won't be running my machine through the network as my network is a bit unstable. But to set this up, you go to this tab, connect to your Wi-Fi, insert your password here. Once you're connected to your Wi-Fi, you disconnect the software again, go back to your computer's Wi-Fi settings, reconnect to your Wi-Fi, I will stay on the machine's Wi-Fi for now. Go back to the controller software and connect to the machine. First thing I usually do when I'm connected is to do a little X minus check, manual move to see if the machine reacts. If that is working, we can do our first test, which would be the tool change. The machine comes fitted with a test rod, so this will say tool number 6 at the top, and we will change that to tool number 1. This will then drop the test rod and pick up tool number 1. Let's do the same with the wireless probe. When we know that is working, we will set the tool back to number 1. Okay, so let's have a look at the controller software's interface. At the top, you'll see this is the connection status. This is a blue light that shows that the machine is in idle and I'm connected through Wi-Fi. Here you can also unlock the machine and disconnect the machine. Then you have your X, Y, and Z coordinates. This is where the position of the machine is at the moment. You can set your X back to 0 by pushing this button, Y to 0, Z to 0. A is the rotation of the 4th axis module. You can also 0 that by pushing this button if that is connected. Next we have the feed status. Now this is the movement of the machine to point A to point B, and you can adjust this by manually changing the percentage of your cut. So this is set to 3000 target, but you can, while the machine is running, you can change the speed that it moves at, and then you just reset by pressing this button. Then you have your spindle status. This is currently set to 10,000 RPMs. You've got a temperature sensor in there to keep track of. And then you can also, while cutting, adjust the RPM scaling. So that changes that value of scale at the bottom by changing the value here. And you can also reset that by just pressing that button. Next, we have the tool status. This is your tool length offset. So this is the bit length that you have. So this works in collaboration with the calibrate function. So if you have a longer bit and you need to calibrate, then this will give you the tool offset. And then this is the voltage of your probe. Here this is the value, this is the tool that is currently in the spindle. This will show you what tool is currently in there. At the moment we have tool 1, and then here you can change it either to the different tools. And then you have your calibrate that works in conjunction with the tool length offset, and then you can drop the bit, it just drops the current bit, and that will say none. And then you can also set the bit to something else if you have to manually change the bit, and then you can set it still to tool number 1, 2, 3 to 6. Then you have your laser status. This is also, you can also adjust this scaling, so the power scaling, that is the strength of the laser while doing a cut. And here you can enable the laser, and you can do a test if you need to, and also reset it if you need to. Then we have your MDI and G-code preview. So here you can see this is the codes that the machine receives and what task it will do with the different codes. This is more for the advanced people. It gives you all the functions of how it operates and what the machine is doing. And then by just clicking this file function, then this will show the G-code that you imported into the software. If you want to input manual commands, you type it in here and just press send, then the machine will react accordingly. Then you have the G-code file preview. So this will show you the cut file. We'll import something now just to give you an example of how this interface works. At the top right hand side, then you have a few other functions. This is just the file function, just takes you to home, and then that similar to that. And then you have your move function. So let's just have a look at this interface. This is how you manually move the machine. You press these buttons by manually moving X in the negative or the positive direction, and then you have Y in the positive and negative direction. Note that this Y is plus, so this actually moves the bed towards you if you're standing in front of the machine, but the value of Y is actually increasing if you're moving the bed to you, because the spindle is not moving on its Y-axis, the bed is moving. Here you can change the intervals of the movement. You can set it from 10 to 100th of a millimeter. This is in millimeters. And then on this side you have your rotation, which is A, and then you can set that to 90 degrees, 10 degrees, 1 degree or 0.1 degree. And then also your Z you can also set from 10 mil to 100th of a millimeter. You can unlock the machine, you can reset the machine, you can move to home. Home is the location of the limit switches in Y and X axis. Then you can scan your margin. This will show you the margin of the job that we have imported into the software. And then the Z probe, this gives you the location of the Z probe. And then the auto level, this shows you the amount of points you're using to auto level your part. Then you've got go to options, go to clearance. That's kind of a safe zone. The work origin is the XY0 of the part that you've imported from your CAM software. The path origin is the corner of that material. And then anchor point 1 and anchor point 2. This is where you do the manual XYZ probe. You have to put in your tool diameter. Then you'll use the manual probe tool to locate your new XYZ position. So that's the movement interface. Then you have your diagnostics. It's recommended not really to play around with the standard settings. Here you can put the spindle on and off, and the spindle fan on and off, and the vacuum on and off manually. And then this is all the triggers that you have on the machine. At the moment the cover is closed, so the cover switch is engaged. So if you have the machine on its XY limit triggered, then that light will be on. E-stop will also be engaged. If the emergency stop button is engaged, you can switch on the light and the air as well. And then this is where you change your spindle speed, spindle fan, and vacuum. Then you have your Wi-Fi settings. That is if you want to set up the machine to your network. Then we have the probing process. So if your machine is not paired with your wireless probe, you'll just press this button, hold the probe in for about 10 seconds, and then this will pair that probe to the machine. Then you have your firmware update. Now this should be updated as we've downloaded this very recently. All that you have to do is to update your controller software. Just check for updates over here, and then you can download. Same thing on firmware. So this will give you the option to check for updates, but because we've just downloaded the software, the firmware should be updated. But if after a while you're using the machine and we've notified you that there's a latest update, you can do that here. Then lastly, we have some more settings. The basic settings is just the vacuum power. Here you can set it to a different value. Lights on, lights off, stop to open, auto sleep. Then you have your advanced settings. I recommend not to mess around with these values too much unless you need to do some specifics. This is the standard values, that the max rotation speed, the min rotation speed, ATC max speed. So it's already set up for you. Here you can change your Wi-Fi name, but I don't recommend changing these values because we know that this works. And here you can restore to default if you need to change. If you by accidentally changed something, you can save your current settings as default or restore to default settings. Then at the bottom here we have another interface. This stop button is the same as the stop button in the front of the machine. So this will stop the machine when once pushed. Then you have a hold button, you have a stop button, and you have a pause button. And then here we have the import file. So this is where you import your files to the machine. Now, root is the files that is on the machine. This is the hard drive that is on the machine. This is where you store your files. You have to upload files manually to the machine over here, and then you cut that file directly off the machine. So there is no interruptions with networks and things like that. So this is what you'll see. You'll see examples here. This is the few examples that we have for you to do your examples with. We'll just take, for example, just one, and we'll import this file. And then you can see this is the preview of your cut file. Now, if you were to import something off your computer, you go to upload files over here, and then you can search. This is now searching your computer. I set up a little file under my username, which says CARVERA cut files. And in this, I have a link shortcut to my desktop to easily access this and import the files into this folder. Then by just clicking on it, upload, then that will upload to the machine. I'll just take a smaller file. That's a 3D relief. Now that file is uploaded to the machine. So if I go back to close, then I am back in the root, and then this file will be imported over here. So there you see, that is the file I just imported. So we'll stick to this file at the moment. Here you can see the interface that you have. This is the rotation movement. Then you can manually move it, like it's from side to side. You can zoom in and out, and then you can, this function makes you see the part if you're standing in front of the machine. So the back of the machine will be over here. Your work origin is over here. That's your X, Y, and Z axis. And then there's your tool bit. Now this file will use two tool bits. You're first using tool 1, and then you're using tool 2. And you can hide the tools of what's happening. So tool 2 will just be drilling some holes with the V-bit. And then tool 1 will be doing the inside cuts and the outside cuts. You see, we already programmed in some tabs. So that's already done. And then you can hide it and show it over here. Then you can play your simulation. This shows you exactly how the bit will run when cutting the part. And then you can speed this up quite a lot. And then lastly, to cut this file, you'll go to this button over here. And then I'll just explain to you how this works and what this is. So this is the layout of your machine bed. You can see I've got anchor point 1 mounted over here. That is the position of anchor point 1. Then you have the options of the work origin. Now this is the XY and the XY00 location that you have programmed in your CAM software. So this is the XY location of this part. It's sitting a little bit on the inside of this part. So this is where you set this. So you can configure it here. If I say 0, 0, then this part will go into, so that's 0, 0 of the work origin is now currently, but this is a problem because you can see this will cut then on the outside of the anchor point. So by configuring this X offset to 10, and we say Y offset to 10, then you'll see this part will move. That's still a little bit of a small clearance, so I'll do it a little bit more. 15. Then you have your part. Then you can, the scan margin is the LED that's in front of the probe. So this will border the cut line of what you are cutting. So this is the boundary of the cut that you will be doing. So this shows you can switch that on and off by pressing this button. I usually just always do scan margin, so I can check if there's any clamps on my material over here or here. I can make sure that this will fit and not interrupt the probe. Then the Auto Z probe, this will do the height check of the material, the single height check. You can also offset this by configuring it here. If I change this value to 10 and I change the Y value to 10, you'll see this red button will move. So first of all, it will do the scan margin. Then it will do the Z probe, just check the height of the material there. And then if you need to do the auto leveling, in some cases you won't do the auto leveling. If the material need to be planed down, you won't need to do the auto leveling. If you've got a material that does not have a standard thickness, you can also configure the points that it will use at this. For example, this one, if you change this values to 3, you'll see that it's only got 3 points on the x-axis, and then it's still got 5 points on the y-axis. So you can configure it there. You can also go, if you have a very detailed part and you need to make sure everything is level, then you can set it up to 15. Your options are 3, 5, 9, and 15. But for this one, this is the cut for the LED 20mm ABS. So for this one, this should be fine. And then if you want to run this file, you just press run over here. So that is the breakdown of the controller software. If you have any questions or comments, post that down below. Links to our Discord channel and our other social media in the video description, and like and subscribe to see more of these videos.